Hi guys, and welcome back from Carly at the Herbathicary. Really good to see you guys again. If you're new to the channel or like the videos, please show your support by hitting like and subscribe down below. So a quick disclaimer, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a doctor or an ethnobotanist. I own a lot of good guidebooks and have been doing this for a while. So please always do your own thorough research first. Don't pick anything unless you're 100% sure of what it is. Check with a book, check with the internet, check with an experienced forager that might know more than you. Always make sure you've got the landowner's permission before you pick anything. Avoid areas of high pollution where they might have used pesticides, and pick as high as you can to avoid where animals might have sprayed. Do not pick endangered species. Please always make sure that you only take as much as you need. Leave some for the creepy crawlies and the birds. And it is advisable to leave your foraged finds outside for at least half an hour in a cool place so that any of those creepy crawlies can find a new home. And always thoroughly wash your findings before you use them. So last week the doctor confirmed what I guess I already knew, but for some reason when they say it, it always seems worse. So I, according to my bloods, have hay fever and asthma and am highly allergic to pollen, which in my mind is the worst thing you can ever tell a forager. But as I said, I kind of knew, and I have been treating it prophylactically using a nettle tea, but I've ran out, and as you can see, most of the nettles near us have already gone to seed. And as we know as foragers, you shouldn't use the nettle leaves once they've gone to seed. So I got my gloves and my bits ready. I was already out hunting for blackberries, as I will be making a blackberry wine for Christmas time. I did come across a couple of young nettle shoots, but these ones are really close to the path, and people do walk their dogs around here, so I won't be picking any of these. But maybe if I can get into the back of this large patch, I will see if I can find some that are safe. But I found what I was looking for, and although the hot weather has made the nettles go to seed early, it's also brought with it a early blackberry harvest. So where I'd normally make this wine around September time, it looks like I'm going to get a head start on it, and I'll have some extra time to get all nice and winey in time for Christmas. As I mentioned, people do walk their dogs down here, but luckily this bush must be over 9 foot tall, so I can at least pick the ones, above my arm and height, so probably 6 foot. I am pretty dinky. And although my gloves did protect my hands, having to get in close to reach the ones at the top didn't protect my legs, and some nettles got me. So as every kid in the UK knows, dock is great for nettle stings. However, so is plantain. And my first find was this broadleaf plantain. It's only a small plant, so I'll only take a few leaves of this. But luckily the ribwort plantain next to it is huge, so I'll get some good ones of there. I also found some common dock, so we'll grab some of those, as I've decided I'm going to take you guys along on the journey to see how I make my antihistamine bites and stings salve at home. So I'm actually going to fill my basket up with some of these now too. So we've got this common dock, and not far from there I also found a nice patch of curly dock, the other variety of dock leaf. Now, although there is a lot of scientific debate on why dock leaf has known to help when plantain is so much better, I suppose lots of people believe that they are of the same genus of plant, and as the nettle being so nutritious, has such a large defense mechanism in order to stop it from being eradicated completely by us hungry chompers who enjoy to eat it. There is much more consensus on why plantain helps. They believe that it contains active ingredients like orcuben, which is antimicrobial, allantoin, which helps with tissue regeneration rather. It's also got a mucilaginous quality, so that's known to reduce pain and discomfort. But I am not going to admit or omit anything from my recipe, as if it helps, why not add it in? So I've given my leaves a very good clean. As you see here, we've got the ribwort plantain and the broadleaf plantain next to each other. Despite the long lanceolate leaves versus the wider ones, both have the same kind of patterning, and they both contain this thin thread that runs up those stems, and they were called golden thread by some ancients, I believe. So to increase the surface area and make more of those active ingredients available, I am going to chop my leaves up. It's just a rough chop. As I said, make sure they are well washed first. I leave mine outside for half an hour just in case there's any creepy crawlies that need to rehome themselves. But you do need to make sure that you dry every leaf well, because water and oil do not mix, and any water in your final product will actually cause it to spoil quicker. Now I like to do these salves in a larger pot, as it allows me to get more of the plant matter in. But if you only have a smaller one, you can just do half and then repeat the process. I'm using coconut oil, organic coconut oil as my base oil, but you could use olive oil, grapeseed oil, whatever you want. And then my double boiler system is just the pressure cooker with the lid off, a sieve, and my pan goes straight in there. I do like to slightly melt the oil first, as it does help the plant matter incorporate into it. I then add in my greens a handful at a time, stirring it around to make sure that all of the plant matter does actually get covered in the coconut oil. As it does start to wilt and the rest of the coconut oil melts though, this will get easier as the plants will become a lot smaller. Other than that, I just allow it to simmer, stirring every 15 minutes or so until the oil is dark green. It will pull out all the greenness out of the plants. So I say an hour, as long as it takes really. After about an hour and a half, however, the plant matter has reduced down completely. It's no longer this light green, it's a dark green, and it's all wilted. So it's just time to sieve out that plant matter. I just use my funnel and some cheesecloth or whatever cloth I have handy. Now I don't want the jar to crack, as the liquid is still quite warm, so I am going to let it drip through at first, and then eventually I will grab the gloves and give it a good squeeze through, making sure to get as much of that infused oil out as you can, as you want to keep obviously as much of it as possible. We don't want to waste any. Then I'm going to add, and you can use Vaseline, although I prefer not to, but I've got about a tablespoon of natural organic beeswax, because I used a coconut oil that does set at room temperature. I don't need to use that much. If you've used a normal oil, you might need to use a little bit more. And then once that beeswax has melted into the oil, I like to use tea tree oil, not only for its cleansing properties, but I really like the smell, and it always makes me feel like getting better. But it is antimicrobial and antifungal and antibacterial, so it will help to preserve your oil. So give that a good stir through. Once that's all melted and incorporated, grab yourself a clean jar. You see, in all of these processes, always make sure that your jars that you're using are clean. Give that jar with the oil in a good dry, as you don't want any water dripping in. As I said earlier, that will make it go bad. I've got a little bit more. I'll have to see if I've got another one of these small jars so I can make a travel one. I literally just let mine set on the side. I quite enjoy coming in and checking it. And then, as with all products, don't forget to label, date, and refrigerate. If you are using a paper label like me though, it will go a bit moist in the fridge and come off, so you might just want to write on the jar. Let us know in the comment section below if you try this recipe and how well it worked for you, and anything you want to say about plantain versus dock.